everybody and get some bones! This is the playthrough for Pro Division in the Winter Slopes Tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go! Let's start off here by playing with the quarterback level 9. The quarterback is going to be a good club for you all to play with here. I'm not going to overuse with a topspin as we do have the wind in our back. So 1.5 bar topspin. As you see, I play with 2 to 3 bars of side spin to the right, but I would like to change that already here. I would like you to play without side spin to the right, and I also want you to back down a little bit here when you do play. We are going to play this one in medium distance with 20% extra. Medium distance 20% extra means that we're going to play downhill and the ball is going to be affected way more by the wind. The thing that is going to happen here with your shot is that you're going to get to the green and that ball is going to take that downhill slope here and get very close towards the pin and give you a very safe and easy birdie. Why did I say then that I do want you to back down a little bit? It's because if we back down just a tiny little bit, we will get a better angle. And every time we're using side spin to the right, the ball is going to be pushed more to the top and it's going to fall down and be below the pin. We want to come in on the like on the high road and get to fall down towards the pin for an hole-in-one. That's something that is possible to make, but it's very, very tough. Before we go to hole number 2 here, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, be a sub. If you do want to get the updated text guides, which is going to be with direct pinpointed information on the holes that you go on the shots that you're going to take in the various divisions, those you can find on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We also have some spots open for training sessions during this tournament week, so check it out. In every training session package, the text guides and the updated text guides are always included. Our opponent does the same as we, get it to the pin, and then let's go to hole number 2. Hole number 2 here is a key hole. We do need to get an eagle, so extremely important. If we don't get that, then we need to consider that as a lost stroke in terms of against your competitions, against your opponents, I would have to say, in the bracket. So we're going to play with a quarterback again, max topspin, which is going to be 4 bars. If not getting, if getting lower than that, then you need to play with an extra mile. We do need to have at least 4 bars of topspin here. And you can see here, my ball guideline is in the center of the rough there. And then we're going to adjust for this shot being in medium distance with 10% extra. Very important with that medium distance, 10% extra, and then we're going to get the ball to bounce on the fairway, then we get it to bounce in the rough, and then we're going to roll. You can see also that I did use some right side spin, and that right side spin we need to be very aware of, that it could potentially put ourselves into the rough there on the right. Now we did follow a lot of the rough there, which in this case is not the best for us. So the thing that we should be very satisfied with is that we did get it away from the rough, so we actually did get it out to fairway, which is going to give us a very easy wedge from that distance. And that is kind of what we want to do. We don't want to get this ball, yeah, of course we want to get this ball in the hole, but it's hard enough to get it away from the rough and stay on the green or on the fairway or on the fringe. So if we can achieve that, then we're going to be very, very happy. So I take it again, medium distance with 10% extra with our quarterback. Then we're going to go with 4 bars of topspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right is going to be enough. And then we're going to aim with our second bounce in the ball guideline that is going to be in the center of the rough patch that you do aim for. Very important. So let's go to hole number 3 here. Hole number 3, and here we do want to start with saying that it's going to be an elevation adjustment for 20% downhill. So we're going to have to over adjust our shot with 20%. The easiest way to do that is that we do take the wind and then we add 20% to the wind and then we adjust our normal numbers. Our opponent's playing with a Marlin. That's not my suggestion here. I do really believe that the power 3 ball is necessary here. Not maybe for the first shot, but especially for the second shot. If we would be getting short on our drive in some cases, then it is very important to have the distance for the second shot. So let's go. Tighten here. And sure, if you do have a bunch of kingmakers, you can play with a kingmaker as well. The importance is the distance here. Max side spin, which is 4.5 bar of side spin to the right. 4.5 bar top spin, which is the maximum top spin on the extra mile level 7 as well. 20% with max distance adjustment with 5.7 is going to give ourselves 3.4 rings. And then we're going to go, and then we're going to use some curl. You can see I'm using the ball just outside of the adjustment ring to the right. I would say as the ultimate curl adjustment here is that you want to use half of the ball outside the adjustment ring to the right. So just a tiny bit more, but that is going to take you away from if you for some reason going to hit the ball great with your drive, then you're not going to put the rough and the sand in any danger on the left. Here we can see the reason why we do want to play with a power 3 ball. You can see here now our opponent is having a sniper, and a sniper and a mauling ball doesn't give you any extra distance, so it's 170 yards, and that is not going to be enough. And now in this situation, we as a player, if I would be putting myself in my opponent's shoes, then I would just be trying to get this ball to green. Hopefully it's going to stay there with the enormous topspin that he is using, and then take the eagle. So it gets to bounce down here, and it coming in a little bit hot, but shouldn't be a problem to make this putt, even though it's going to be a pretty long one. For us here, I'm going to use the big dog. The big dog gives me distance, and combined with a power 3 ball, you can see I'm reaching just to maximum distance of my club. Have a couple of yards to spare, but that is going to be perfect. So I'm using 1 bar of backspin, like half a bar to a bar depending on what I'm feeling here. I go with around 1 bar, that's normal for me. Max side spin to the right, and then we're going to adjust this shot for being in maximum distance. No extra adjustment, just being a maximum distance. Here we just want the ball to touch a little bit there to the right. The thing is here though is that we do have the trees to our left when we do take our shot. So if you do curl it too much to the right, you're going to cut the trees, and then you're going to fall short, and the eagle is going to be very hard. So really have that in mind when you are going to play that shot, that you don't do like I've done several times because I don't pay attention. That is that I put myself into those trees because I do try to go more to the pin. Be happy with an eagle on hole number 3. An albatross is going to be very tough. Hole number 4, par 3. And here we are going to play with some slight headwind. Our opponent here is going to play on a high position here on this fairway, which is going to require some overpower. I don't like that, because we should never be finding ourselves in a position where we on a par 3 should be going with overpower. Now the result here becomes really good, and that's an excellent shot by having to go with overpower. When we take our first shot or our tee shot, we need to add 10% to our adjustment. That is due to that we were playing downhill and also over water. So the ball is going to be affected a little bit more by the wind. I'm going to try to play here on the bottom left corner. The problem here is that is also a very inconsistent bounce. That even if the ball guideline is showing us here that we're going to get straight at the pin, and even if I do over adjust more to the right, the ball here is going to be pushed a little bit more to the left. So then we kind of have to think like this. We either have to go with more like choose a landing position that is more to the right, or we in that case have to go with more counter curl to the right. You can see I'm having the curl just tiny bit to the right, and I'm honestly bouncing where I was aiming, but we do have that little bowl-like area there, and then I got to bounce on the edge and pushed me way more to the left. That is the only reason why we come in this particular situation. So either we move the landing position, or we need to go with more curl, so we're coming in with a different angle towards that fairway. But never put yourself in a situation where you have to overpower your shot. So in the end, it was a very safe birdie. Hole number 5. hole number 5, we are going to play with the driver that we feel the most comfortable with, but we do need power. Even though that we do have tailwind, we definitely do need power on this drive. And I would say I'm pleased that the game makers has been giving us tailwind on this one, as it would be otherwise, especially in headwind, very tough to reach over the water, or at least dangerous. Our opponent goes full overpower with a Quasar. That's a way to do. I do choose a more conservative way, which is to go with a power 3 balls. I do give myself more distance and don't have to go with that much overpower. Max topspin, which is 4.5 bar topspin, and max side spin to the right, which is 4.5 bar side spin to the right. Going to have to add 10% extra to the adjustment as we're playing it slightly downhill. The thing I do here is that I do drag it out to max distance to picture myself where I want my ball to land. Then I adjust the proper amount of rings that I do want to have, and then I go. I go with full curl, which is 1 ball outside the adjustment ring to the right, because that is max curl with extra mile level 7. And then I go with around 20 to 30% of overpower. You can see I was very, very close there with the rough. So take off a little bit. Don't go with that much overpower that I did. Take it off just a tiny little bit, so we're not endangering hitting the rough there, then falling into the water or being stuck in the rough. Because now we're coming in a position where we're going to have a good opportunity. This Albatross attempt is, in my opinion, a very good attempt. And our opponent's going to go for the rough bump, as it seems at least, which is, or no, not the rough bump. He's going to try to hit the fairway or the fringe on top there. Because you have two ways. You either go for the rough bump or you go for the backspin approach with your Saturn directly on the green. In this example, I'm going to go for the backspin approach with the Saturn on the top of the green to let the ball fall back down and don't risk the rough bump, as for in tailwind I have to adjust a pretty far bit down into a lower area, and then we need to really pay attention to the lower trajectory, and that is going to be sometimes a little bit tough to get right. So I'm going to aim here to the right of the pin, as the ball is going to be bounced to the left, and also the green is sloping down to the left as well. And then here I'm going to adjust my Saturn for being in, the distance that the club is. That is the distance I'm going to adjust for. No elevation adjustment, it's just going to be as it is. So we bounce exactly where we wanted to, and the ball is coming down here pretty nicely, but we're coming in a little bit too much to the right. A little bit more aiming to the left, or maybe 1 bar side spin to the left would be helping us there to come a bit closer to the pin. So, but at least a safe eagle, and that's what we're looking for. Then we can tweak that, and then we can go from there. So a quick summary of hole number 5. Drive 10% extra due to the downhill approach. Then we do have max curl with X mile level 7. Tiny bit of overpower combined with 4.5 bar topspin and 4.5 bar side spin to the right. Second shot, no elevation adjustment. You either go for the rough bump or you go, in that case, with the backspin approach with either the Saturn or maybe the Tsunami, if that is the club that you do have. Hole number 6, par 4. In my book, a very good opportunity for the eagle. I like this approach shot especially. And first and foremost, we need to have in mind that the drive here, we're going to add 5%. Only 5, so it's a very, very tiny over adjustment, but very important still that we need to make it. So instead of, for example, this wind would be 7, with a 5% extra wind, we would be having around 7.4. And that's a difference. And a difference that can make a big deal when it comes to wind, when we have a wind above like 5-6 miles per hour in strength. For me here, I would start by saying first that we have the extra mile, and I would strongly suggest that you do play with a power 3 ball. I was under the impression that I was going to be okay with playing with a power 1 ball, but we're going to find ourselves coming into overpower. But first, landing position, this is where we want to. A red ring just by the rough there. 4.5 bar top spin, which is the maximum with extra mile level 7. max side spin to the right as well, which is 4.5 bar side spin to the right. And then we're going to adjust for max numbers with 5% extra. You can see we came into overpower. We wouldn't be coming into that much overpower if we do have a power 3 ball. And therefore, we need to change to a power 3 ball here, so we do not find ourselves in that struggle that we do have to overpower. Overpower, always a higher risk than having to take just a normal shot. But from the position that we are now, excellent opportunity. Get in the hole. So, and I always play right side, I never play left side. I do still not understand why players are playing left side. The drive is harder, the second shot or the approach shot for the pin is way harder. So there isn't anything else than just struggle with the left side and could potentially put yourself in the risk of having a par. Playing on the right side gives you a good opportunity for an eagle, as that shot is pretty much dialed in, at least in my book. So, okay, our turn, sniper. First, we need to have in mind here that this is a pretty tricky adjustment form, as we do need to adjust for the elevation. But we're going first with 3.5 bar backspin, and it's going to be 3 bars of side spin to the left. I'm aiming just on the right side of the cup. And now I'm going to subtract 10%. So we're actually playing this whole uphill. So we under adjust with 10% here. And we're also going to play the shot from where it is, which is medium distance of our club in this case. Medium distance minus 10%, which is that we're playing uphill. And this is the reason. Take a look at that view. As you can see there, the fairway was way higher, and therefore the ball is going to be affected less by the wind. Getting it very, very close. And the only thing that I'm going to do for the next time there is that I'm going to adjust. So I'm going to be half a cup outside the cup to the right in terms of adjust the same way. Hole number 7. Now it's time to play in some tailwind, and you can see I'm playing with a power 1 ball. You do need a power 1 ball to be able to play with a sniper in tailwind. Otherwise you will be in between clubs in terms of long iron and wood club. So I would suggest a quasar or a navigator, but most of all I would suggest the navigator, as it reduces the wind the most. We only need to go with 1 bar of side spin to the right here to get straight at the pin. And then we're going to adjust this shot for being around 6.8, 6.9. So I'm playing it in between minimum and medium distance with a 10% extra over adjustment. The thing that happens here now is that I do lose distance due to hitting the ball great, and also hitting great left, which is going to put me to the left. So the thing that we do want to do here is that we do still want to use the same adjustment as we did here. We do want to reduce half a bar of backspin, only that, then we're going to hit the ball perfect. Which is hard enough, of course. Our opponent's playing with a Marlin, and that could be done as well. Very, very important to not play with a power ball that is more than power 1. Because otherwise power 2, power 3, power 4, etc. is going to risk going being in between clubs, and then we are in a big struggle, as then we need to wing it, and that almost never goes good. So we make that one. Let's go to hole number 8. Very important, as hole number 2 we need an eagle on hole number 8. Oh my god, the desert storm. That's not that's a tough position. Like, not having a ball guideline from the rough or from the sand, then you need to dunk. You need to at least try. It's very hard to rely on the ball guideline there, so there isn't anything worse than the ball guideline looks okay, and then we hit it perfect and we still miss. So with a rough iron or a sandwich that do not have the ball guideline, go for the dunk when you are in such a short range. Worst case scenario, you're still going to have a pot for the pin. So, hole number 8. Now we go for the green. We have straight tailwind, which is a good wind, and it shouldn't be considered any problem for us. But you know, we need to make the shot well. Otherwise, we maybe put ourselves into the water or into the rough. I do believe that it's harder for us to put ourselves in the water with this tailwind than it is to shoot completely over the green. But the only thing that we do want to focus on here is that stay away from the rough or from the sand on the back of the green, on the side, or before. So we do have some room with a very big green. This is a good shot going from the left side, but I don't understand why, because as still going for the green, it's better to go on the right side. So I'm having 6 bars of topspin here, and you don't have to have 6 bar, but in this example we have the Taurus hammer level 5, 6 bar of topspin. I'm going with a little bit of side spin to the left as well, as I do want the ball to be as ball guideline to be as straight as the pin towards the pin as possible. What do you do then if you don't have 6 bars topspin? Then you use the club with the most amount of topspin combined with power. Most of the time that is the extra mile or a lower level apocalypse. And then you have to go with a little bit more overpower. You can see I'm just getting outside there with the overpower, and I could have gone with even less. Look here what distance I'm coming here. And I'm cutting the rough, and I'm getting it so close for another one. But I'm coming in way too hard, and would have been a very lucky one if I would be getting that one to stop and get into the hole. But the thing that we did achieve what we were looking for, getting the ball to stay in any form of fairway, fringe, or green area after the rough. And that is going to give us a ship. Not a ship that goes on the water, but like a golf wedge ship, and in straight headwind, and that is a wedge that we need to make every single time, or at least we need to think that we're going to do so, as that is a huge opportunity for an eagle. The thing that you need to have in mind as well with the drive is that the ball is going to be affected a little bit more by the wind as for downhill, so it's a 15% extra over adjustment. But as we're still going with overpower, it's better to focus on getting the overpower right. And I would say, depending on the topspin, if you do have let's say 4.5 bar topspin, you go with the overpower I show here on the video. If you do have 6, then you take off a little bit of overpower that I showed here on the video. And then we're going to be spot on. Perfect. And we get it in for an eagle. Last but not least, it's a hole number 9. And now we're going to do our very, very best to gain as much yards as possible here on the fairway. Worst case scenario for us, we're going to cut the rough and roll out and still have a shot for the green. But see this one as like a eagle hole. Don't see this one as an albatross hole, as it's very easy to push too hard and then going to put yourself in the rough or in the sand. So I'm adjusting for 10% extra here with the drive as well. So it's the max distance number with 10% extra. I'm going with the ball outside the adjustment ring to the left around 80%. You can see it's a little bit too much, just a little bit. So the thing that we do want to do, go with half of the ball outside the adjustment ring to the left. Then we're going to be there. And you can see I went with 1.5 bar topspin. Max the side spin to the left, and most importantly a power 3 ball, because if we cut the rough and then roll out on the fairway and lose some distance, we're going to have the power 3 ball combined with a wood club that gives us distance to help us get that ball to the green. So gets there onto the fairway, no problem. But the problem for our opponent is starting now. As for the Malin ball doesn't give our opponent any help. Now we do have the big dog. Take a look at this adjustment here now. I'm not going to try to bounce myself in the rough. I'm going to bounce over the rough. 2 and a click bars of backspin. Around 2.5, but a little bit less. You can go with 2.5. Doesn't really matter, but you can see here I'm just having a click of backspin there. Max side spin to the left. I'm going to drag out, trying to picture myself how much overpower I need to go with. And also we do need to go with some curl. We adjust down from distance here, which is going to be slightly more than 3 rings from max distance with a big dog. You can see I'm using 1.5 ball outside adjustment wing there to the left. Or like, yeah, 1.5 ball approximately. And go with some overpower around 70%. And we're coming up very nicely to the green. That's a shot where we save ourselves for the eagle there a little bit. If we wouldn't be cutting the rough, then it would be such an easier shot to bounce over the rough. But don't be that calm when it comes into this one. This is a tough hole and we need to fight for getting that eagle. A -14 I see as a par score on the course, as we do need to get hole number 2 and hole number 4, and then eagles on the par 5 and then par birdies on the rest. That's going to be a -14. And -28, it's going to most likely be a score that you will, to get top 5, you will have to get that score. Might have to get 1 or 2 extra to bag that gold. But we'll see what happens, but that's what I think at least. Do not forget to make a comment in the comment section below if you do have any questions. I will be there to help you. For those of you that do want to get updated text guides, which is going to direct you exactly how you take the shots and going to be like a no cheat for you and help you out in the tournament, you can get those on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Also, in the description down below, you can find the direct timestamps to the hole in this playthrough. So you don't have to watch everyone if you don't want to. You maybe just need advice for hole number 7. Then press on that timestamp there and then you get to hole number 7 directly. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Winter Slopes tournament.